welcome to Mercy Hospital, South Buffalo. This is another edition of Cooking Well at Mercy Hospital in our wonderful cafeteria. Today we are going to be building a wonderful dish, a zucchini lasagna that Karen Callander has brought for me. Karen is our healthy lifestyles cooking coach, and she's going to be here to help us along and bring forth a lot of nutritional information that we might not otherwise know as a chef or as a consumer.
Well, right now this is a gluten-free dish, and it's also a low-carb dish. So we're replacing our zucchini instead of the noodles, which will be better for you because it's lower glycemic and
Right.
It's healthier for you. And we need to eat more vegetables. That's the whole idea.
We have our mise en place out in front of us, and a couple things that we've done in advance because it is a longer lasagna recipe. So we're going to take you through it. We've got things organized. We've got a pound of beef, some Parmesan cheese, some mozzarella cheese, some eggs. We've got some portobello mushrooms, some crushed tomatoes, some black beans, some basil, garlic, salt, pepper, and we've got two kinds of parsley. We've got a dry and a fresh, and we've got a little onion here too. So we're going to start out with the zucchini. And with the zucchini, we have a mandolin here today, and we're going to use that to help us along with my knife skills. Not that I have bad knife skills. We're going to take the ends off the zucchini, and we're going to discard the ends. We're not going to save them for a stock or anything. We've taken our mandolin and we've sort of set a depth to it, and it's really a thin slice with the zucchini. You can see that right there. It's about less than a quarter inch, maybe an eighth of an inch. And that's going to help us because the zucchini is going to substitute for the macaroni or the pasta, which we're not using in this dish, which makes it gluten-free. Zucchini is a great addition to this meal because it's going to help us with fiber. Am I right?
Yeah, well, you keep the green on there, that's the fiber, and then
Yep.
we get all the vitamins and the nutrients, phytonutrients, which are from plants.
Yeah.
And it's really healthy for everyone. And you're not going to even notice that it's not macaroni when you taste it.
I'm going to move forward a little real quickly here, and I'm just very careful pushing it through in these nice thin strips.
See how nice? Now you can make them thin, you can make them thicker, however you want them. They're going to cook in the oven, so it really doesn't matter.
We're going to extract the moisture from the zucchini, and this is going to help us in the long run when we're doing our recipe to eliminate the moisture.
That's the thing with zucchini. It's full of a lot of moisture, and if you don't take the moisture out of the zucchini, you're going to have a very wet lasagna. So what we do is we sprinkle it with salt, and we leave it while we're making our beef. You just sprinkle it and you just move these around because you're going to see how wet they get.
What we've done is we've taken a little step further, and we have our zucchini here, and what we did, and we just let it go for about 20 minutes. We didn't press it. We didn't get, sometimes you'll weight it and you'll press the moisture out of it, but in this instance, all we did was lay some paper towels in there to sort of remove some of that moisture out of there. Okay, so this is the step that we wanted to show you with the zucchini. Now we're going to let it keep going for a few more minutes. We're going to talk about the beef now. We're going to get our beef together. We're going to get our onions. It's half an onion, 1 pound of beef. We've got a little garlic, and we're going to do a little work with the garlic in a second. Our pan is getting hot. We're going to take our pound of grass-fed beef. We're going to put about a tablespoon of olive oil in there. And I'm going to let Karen go to town over here. Dump it right in there. And she's going to break that up and keep working it through. And while she's working on that, I'm going to show you some tricks with the portobello mushroom. Now if you look at the portobello, it's got these fins in here, and we're going to get rid of those because they're going to turn our recipe really dark. They're dark in color, and they'll make my filling very dark, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to take my little knife, and I'm going to scrape around. I got it upside down. I'm using a tournée knife. You can use a paring knife. You can use a butter knife. Any blade that you're comfortable with. You can see I'm just going to spin that around, and I'm taking all those fins out of the mushroom. Look how beautiful that is now. So now I've got that wonderful portobello mushroom cap. I'm going to chop it up, not too small, because we know mushrooms are 80% water. They're going to cook almost down to nothing.
Yep.
But they have a lot of flavor. A very earth tone flavor. It's going to bring a lot of nuance to the dish that might not be there in a regular lasagna. This recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic. I enjoy garlic. I think it has a lot of flavor. And the recipe is kind of not an exact science. We're not baking. We're doing hot cooking. So with hot cooking, there's always leeway and there's always a little room to play. You don't have to be right on the money with your ingredients and your measuring. So that's important to note. So if you sway a little bit in either direction with your recipe, it's not going to hurt anything. We've got our peeled garlic, and I'm going to take a little salt. I'm going to put a little salt on top of that garlic. You can watch real quick. I'm going to chop the garlic gently, nothing too major. But as I got that salt, I'm going to press it down and keep cutting it with my blade. And by adding the salt, it allows me to start pulling the oil out. You'll see me rub it with my knife and keep going back and forth across the top. And I just bring it down. It's a quick, easy trick. What we're making is a garlic emince, E-M-I-N-C-E. All right, and this looks good. You can see I'm going to put on the blade of the knife. I'm going to kind of hold it up out there. And what it is, a little salt, and we've released the oil, which is naturally in the garlic. So when Karen used this garlic, it spreads out throughout the dish, and it really enhances the flavors and brings that full-bodied garlic flavor out, and it's going to make our dish that much better. So it's the little things that we show you in our cooking classes, some of the things that we want to do that enhance what you do at home.
Now, you don't have to mush up your beans. It's just that sometimes people don't like the consistency of beans. If your children don't like the consistency of beans, you can puree it and sneak it into the food. They won't even know. Beans are a really good source of protein, and you can use them even in brownies.
Ooh.
Puree them and put them in your brownies, and your kids won't even know, but they'll get a great source of protein. Very healthy, very tasty.
Wow.
I know, it's
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Truth. All right, so I'm just mushing them up a little bit, and I'm adding them to our mixture here.
Looks good. Okay, we also have a cheese recipe we're going to put together. And Karen's going to finish the dish right now. We're going to talk about the parsley. We're going to use a teaspoon of basil. It's a dried basil. And we're going to go by the pinch.
Smells
it calls
really
for
good.
a tablespoon and a half of black pepper. I'm sorry, yeah, a tablespoon and a half of black pepper. And I recommend at home you measure. I've been doing it for so many years. I'm very comfortable with it, and I have a good idea where I'm at. It calls for a tablespoon of salt, which may seem like a lot, but the salt is what's going to bring out the flavor of all our ingredients and kind of marry everything together. Now, we've got dry parsley and we've got fresh parsley. And one of the questions I face a lot is how much dry versus fresh in case I don't have one or the other. If the recipe calls for dry and you only have fresh, you use 2 parts fresh. Okay, so it's always double the fresh. Remember that. Today our recipe calls for dry, and it calls for just a teaspoon. We're going to work that in there. It looks good. So in our dish here, Karen's been working diligently, and I appreciate that, Karen. I appreciate hanging in there right now.
The muscles.
Yep, we've got our onions, we've got our garlic, we've got our wonderful portobello mushrooms, our black beans, and we've developed a really nice meat filling, very simple. And now we're going to add our tomato product. Crushed tomatoes.
Oh, this.
I'm going to add it in there for Karen. And a little scoop out of there.
Yep.
That thing there. Beautiful. All right. And we're going to stir it all in. I like it.
Looking good.
You can see now that we're building color.
We're building color and nutrients, I have to tell you. We've got a lot of protein in this dish. We've got it with the beef, and we have it with the beans as well, and we're going to have it with the cheese. Now, if you're a vegan and you don't want the cheese, you can use something else like nutritional yeast, and you can use tofu. If you want to be vegetarian, you can take out the beef and just make it this way. So it's really, it's for everybody.
So while we're going to let that cook at home, you'd need 20 minutes of cook time to let that simmer down. And right now we're going to make our cheese filling. We measured it out. We've got a low-fat ricotta.
Yep.
Whoa. I'm gonna put the low-fat ricotta in there. A nice look at that. We're gonna use 1 egg. Remember, I always recommend cracking the egg away from your dish. We're gonna kind of inspect it real quick, looking for any shells. Because once I throw it into my dish, going fishing for that shell may not be as fun or anything I particularly want to do. So we took a nice look at that. That was very successful. And then we're gonna add Parmesan to this.
Parmesan, yep.
Was it a 1/4 cup?
Yes, it's 1/4 cup of Parmesan.
1/4 cup of Parm. Always remember when you're measuring, a pint, a pound, a world around. So a pint is 16 ounces, and you can break it down from there, where a cup is 8 ounces. So a 1/2 cup is 4 ounces, and a 1/4 cup is 2 ounces. So we've got about 2 ounces of cheese. We're gonna add that right in.
This is going to help set the lasagna.
Yep, the egg, when you're cooking and the egg hits a certain temperature, it pulls everything together and it coagulates the recipe and keeps it from running around our dish.
All right.
Okay?
We're ready to build.
We are ready to go.
Ready to build.
Okay, so we talked about the recipe having 3 components to it. We've got our cheese filling, we've got our meat filling, and now we have our zucchini sliced thin with the mandolin. We put a little salt on there to extract the moisture, and now we're going to start assembling our dish. We don't have any pasta, so obviously you can tell that this is going to be our replacement for the pasta. So let's have a little fun. I'm going to let Karen build it, and we can watch real quick.
All right, first we put meat in the bottom.
She's going to start layering now. It's a lasagna. We want to layer the lasagna in parts. We're not going to hold up. We're not going to wait for it to cool. We're just going to put it all right together. Okay?
Layer
And now we're going to take, I'm going to bring this right to you so you have to
Okay,
reach.
beautiful.
I'll let you keep building that. And once again, it's not baking. So you can have a little fun.
Use all these ends because they're good fiber.
Yep.
So you don't have to be real fancy about laying them in here. Just lay them in nice. Then you're going to put your ricotta mixture on top.
Ooh. Why do we like
Can you
cheese so
see?
much?
I know it's
Just lower your
really
heat down there.
one of those things that we like. So you're going to
looks
put
great.
your cheese mixture
Oh, I like it.
all over that. And then you're going to sprinkle a little bit of mozzarella
Oh
cheese.
man, mozzarella.
Just a little.
More.
Then you're going to put some more of the meat mixture. And you're going to layer this up until you're done. I like to end up with a meat mixture topped with mozzarella cheese. Can everybody see this pretty good?
Yep, it looks great. Looks great. Let me just sort of
Oops, sorry.
angle it up there, and you can sort of see as we're coming together there what we've got so far. And we're going to build layers. We're just going to keep going and layering it up until we're out of ingredients. All right, so there's really plenty of ingredients here because we're Mercy Hospital and we never run out of food. Not even in the blizzard of 2014 and 2013 last year did we run out of food at this wonderful establishment.
You were here, obviously.
We were here, and we're looking forward to another successful winter. We do a lot here at Mercy. We are going to be transitioning to a room service menu in the next few weeks, so we look forward to anybody staying at Mercy to enjoying their stay even more. On our room service menu, the patient will be able to order what they like and what they don't like, and they'll have a little more control over their situation when they're in their bed and healing up. All right, now we're finishing up our recipe. Oh, that looks great. Now, once we're done, we're going to bake this for 45 minutes covered, and then the last 15 minutes uncovered. We're going to go at about 350 degrees, depending on the oven. And then we're going to let it rest. Now, obviously, I can't do that in a 20-minute cooking class. So we were busy yesterday getting everything organized and finishing up our recipe ahead of time. We're going to show you in a time lapse how it's done. I'm going to accent a little more, some fresh parsley on top, and bake in all those healthy ingredients. So right now, Scott, I'd like to head over to our oven and let's finish this off. and we'll bake it, and then everybody who's here can have a wonderful sample, and we can try our handiwork. And there is our zucchini lasagna with 1 pound of grass-fed beef. With that 1 pound of grass-fed beef, we made a 6-pound lasagna. Very nice dish. My total spend on this was maybe about $10, $11, and I've made something healthy that can easily feed a family of 6. Bon appetit, and thank you very much for coming to Mercy Hospital cafeteria today. Karen, thank you for spending some time with us and helping us to learn more about our diet, our nutrition, and the way our body handles food, as always.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Thank you. Bon appetit. It came out nice. Very nice. Thank you for all coming out, Maryland.